where does your mind go when you know you've got this long, hard journey ahead of you? Like, what are you thinking and what are you telling yourself?
I always just say pace it. Pace it,
Yeah.
stick to your own race. Don't try and race anyone because you're just gonna burn out. Or especially when you try and choose someone that's faster than you. Like, I'm gonna try and keep up with them. It's always a bad idea. Yeah, I just always tell myself to pace it and then just pick your moments of where to push and where to relax a bit.
Welcome along to the Lifting in Life podcast. I'm Cam, I'm the host. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. I'm a personal trainer and I also work in IT. Today, I'm joined by Ash Roozendaal. He is a national level CrossFit competitor and an international level Whakatane paddler from New Zealand. We also know each other from school, so it was really nice to catch up with him after so long. Haven't really spoken to him much since school, although I've been following his journey and all the stuff that he's done since then. In this chat, we discuss or go over Ash's journey in both CrossFit and Whakatane and focus on some of the challenges that he's had to overcome. So whether that was starting out CrossFit and having to work on the weaknesses, which is running for him, as you will find out. But then we also discuss his journey in Whakatane and the challenges there. And for some of them that I found quite interesting was the length of pedaling time in terms of distance that you can do in Whakatane, and obviously the fact that it can be open ocean too. So that level of complexity and challenge, I found that quite interesting. Obviously that's physically challenging and mentally challenging. I appreciate you tuning into the podcast, and any support you can show goes a long way and it helps me keep getting these awesome people on. I hope you enjoy the episode, and remember, you make you.
Anyway, Ash, thanks heaps for joining me, bro. I don't think we've really seen much of each other since high school, but I've been following your CrossFit and your Whakatane on your Instagram, and I just thought, you know what, I haven't chatted to anyone about CrossFit, and it's something I'm interested in, so I just thought of you straight away, so I appreciate you coming on today, man.
No, thanks for having me.
No worries, bro. You've obviously been doing CrossFit for quite a while now. I remember at school, it felt like there was this almost decision that some of us made to either go down the like weights in the gym kind of route or down the CrossFit-y kind of route. And you obviously chose that CrossFit kind of path. When you first decided to do CrossFit, what was it that kind of motivated you to get into it?
Well, when I first, it was actually Whakatane that started it really.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously I was doing Whakatane for ages, and then my mum wanted me to like get a bit stronger because I was like quite small, small and like little at school, and mum wanted me to get a bit stronger, but maybe a bit bigger. And then she started doing CrossFit herself just to find out what it was, and then she just dragged me along, and then I just kind of got hooked. Yeah.
What were those first sessions like when you first turned up to a CrossFit gym? Do you remember how you felt first turning up?
It's kind of funny because the first mum said that she said, "Oh, bring my son along to the guy who was running it." He was running it out of his like garage, and he said, "Oh, maybe he might not be able to do it, or like he can try, but might not be that great." Kind of just motivated me to like, oh, I'm gonna go and try and show
You're doubting me.
Yeah. So it turned up, it was quite like grassroots level, so it's like real beginners, bunch of people that just beginners, and it's kind of just like, I think he kind of saw something when I first started, and then offered me up to do like a comp, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll give that a go, like a teenage comp. Like, yeah, I'll give that a go. Went to go do the teenage comp. Didn't win or anything. Came like probably 7th out of 14 or something. So mid pack. And then, but that competition got me wanting to do more. It's like It's like, man, I like this. It's quite
Yeah, man.
fun.
How soon after you started were you doing that comp? Do you remember?
um, I want to say like maybe 6 months, maybe
Oh,
something like that.
wow. That's a
Yeah,
quick turnaround, man. If you think about how
yeah,
much stuff is involved in CrossFit and how many different elements you could learn.
yeah, yeah. It was 6 months, but like you have like your levels of when you compete. It's like you have your high level, medium, and then like your low. I think I may have jumped into like the medium
Oh,
grade
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
when I
yeah.
first started, and but it's still because like some movements I hadn't figured out yet, I guess,
Mhm.
and it kind of it's kind of like I said, motivating when you like, oh, that's a new movement, I want to try that. So you
Yeah,
kind of work
man.
on it, and then you get it, and then you go to another one. It's like just never ends.
Yeah. I was going to say there's a lot of movements in CrossFit to learn.
Yeah, yeah.
When it comes to those movements, and maybe focusing a little bit when you're a beginner, but even more so now, how do you kind of prioritize what you're going to work on? Because obviously you have the running and cardiovascular component, but then you have the strength component where you're doing maybe deadlift squats or Olympic lifting, and those are obviously really different. And then you have a whole heap of stuff in between too. So how do you prioritize what you need to work on and what you need to improve on?
Well, you kind of like when you compete, you kind of it shows what you need, what your weaknesses are.
True.
So for me, it's running. I hate running. Like I like lifting,
Yeah.
but I guess it's like you just go through whoever like programs for you. They program around your weaknesses, right? So
Hmm.
for me, I try to do a lot of running. At the moment, I'm not because I'm injured.
Oh, what are you injured? What happened?
I've got a stress fracture in my shin.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I can't run or lift or anything. So it's
Oh
kind of a bit
damn,
of a
bro.
bad
What's the
timing, but
yeah,
it's okay.
what's the recovery time on that?
They didn't say. They just said just stay off it. Really, I feel like it's getting better now. Like I haven't been putting any load on it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a bit of a bummer. It's kind of like ruined the season for me a little bit, but it's all
Yeah.
good because I still have Wakama there anyway. So.
True. What when you're injured like that, how do you shift your focus? What do you start to
Yeah,
focus on then?
yeah. So it's more like just putting myself on like machines and
Yeah.
gymnastic work. But it's kind of like gymnastic stuff is one thing I'm good at, which I don't really need to work on compared
Mm,
to obviously like running. But then I can't run,
yeah, man.
and but I was also like just doing a lot of machines kind of helps with cardio anyway. So it's
Yeah.
like pretty much almost close to running.
Yeah. How do you find it affects you mentally when you're going through an injury?
Um, I don't know, I kind of like
Yeah.
just push it away, like, oh, it's gonna be all right. Like something else will pop up. Like actually, this is quite good actually because I was going through like the Whakatane trials for the New Zealand team as well in the
Hmm.
same time, and I got selected for the team. So that's kind of popped up, and I can just take a break from CrossFit for a bit. Well, like
Yeah.
fully training from CrossFit.
Yeah. Do you think that is a good thing about being into two different sports? You know, some people are just into, say, running or just into triathlon. So when they injure something like a stress fracture in their shin, then they just can't do the sport that they are only
Yeah,
doing. Do you think that's kind of a good thing about doing both things?
I think it is. It's kind of like you you have something else there that you can go back onto.
Mm,
And like if I was couldn't do anything right now, I'll kind of probably go mentally mad. Like I
yeah.
want to go do something, you know, want to go do some sort of fitness thing. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think a component to it is an identity thing too. If one thing you do, if your sport that you do is 90% of who you are as a person, if you get an injury like that and then you can't do it, I think it can be quite a like an identity crisis. I chatted to a trail runner, a professional trail runner, and she got injured and DNF'd out of a race. And I spoke to her, it was maybe like 2 weeks after that happened. And there's just so much kind of inner turmoil when you
Yeah,
have
you
this moment to,
kind of sit back and kind of like, oh, well, that's not.
yeah,
Kind of start hating yourself a bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And it's probably easy to question, okay, now who am I? Or now what am I? If I can no longer do this thing, obviously this
and
injury
now what
isn't,
do I do?
yeah, this obviously isn't career ending, so it's not to that extent, but you could see how as an athlete, when that is taking up most of your pie and something
Yeah,
happens,
yeah.
you could sit back and really reflect on it. Just pulling it back to the prioritization of movements. You say you're not very good at running. So what does it look like in your training plan to improve your running ability? Is that, I wouldn't imagine so, but is it long runs or is it mainly short sprint stuff or middle distance? Like what do you do to improve there?
Um, More like just interval stuff. So when I was running, what was I doing? Maybe twice a week,
Hmm.
like just one, probably 30 to 40 minute session of just straight running. Um, that one would be because we have like a runner at the gym, so probably about half an hour to 40 minutes on that, just doing interval work.
Hmm.
And then on like a Sunday, we'll go spend like an hour or something at the track, and do some running around on the track.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's some classes that would have like class workouts that would have running with mixed with other stuff in there too.
Hmm.
So all kind of adds together. Yeah, so probably about twice a week would run.
Yeah. And that interval stuff, that would be most applicable to what you do. I suppose you don't really need to build your really base level zone 2 kind of cardio and be
No,
running
yeah,
for an hour at like 6 minutes per k, your super steady stuff. That's not really
yeah,
as applicable.
nah. I'm like I'm a big fan of everything works, everything helps. So I I reckon anything really, just that there, because like some comps have long runs anyway. Like was it last year's New Zealand Nationals? We had a 10K run, and that's
A
about an
10k
hour
run,
just for
straight 10k.
yeah, just for an event. That was it. Yeah.
Oh, damn,
So
bro.
that was, yeah. You kind of like you're unsure what's going to pop up, so you kind of have to train for everything.
Mm. I actually wanted to ask you about that when it comes to the competition aspect. Do you know what movements and stuff you're going to do in advance, or do you just train and then just hope that your training is applicable to the comp?
Yeah, that yeah, just hope.
Really?
Yeah, train everything and just hope what's like hope you kind of hope that your strengths are gonna pop up.
Yeah.
But
Damn, bro.
like you've heard of High Rocks, eh?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And
They
they've got
actually,
the one workout that's announced that they always do or something. I think.
right. I was going to say they actually had like, I think it was the world champs maybe in Manchester, like a few
Yeah,
weeks
yeah,
ago or a month
yeah,
ago. We didn't go watch it, but I just saw all the high rocks athletes, and that's when I looked it up on YouTube. I was like, what is
yeah.
this? Then I was watching the comp they did here, but
But I think I think they have it all set. Their workout set. It's pretty much CrossFit. Their one.
yeah, yeah.
They have all their workouts, all their movements, and all that set, and you just have to just train for that. Where CrossFit,
Right.
always different.
Yeah. I could imagine that you could rock up on the day and either be stoked that the workout aligns with your strengths or just be like, fuck. Just
Yeah,
like it's a 10k run or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So like I was saying, that 10K run. Not
Mm,
long after that, we had half an hour to get ready for the next one. When there
yeah.
was a cap, there was like maybe a 60, 70 minute cap or something for everyone to finish. And then we had half an hour to get ready for the next one. And the next one was my strength.
Hmm.
So it was something that I was good at. And I ended up winning the next one where I
Right.
was like, it's
Was
like
it
10th in
half
the
an
world.
hour after the 10k run? You
Yeah,
did.
yeah. So it depends on
Damn.
whoever's running the show. It all depends on what they're thinking on that day
Yeah.
or prior to it. So
What is it like going into your strength movements after doing a 10K run?
For me, I was kind of just because I knew about it before I was running. So
Mm.
while I was running, I was just thinking about getting to that. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of motivated me to just finish the run and then get ready for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I couldn't imagine going into some CrossFit style movements after finishing like a 60-minute run or something.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Soon as because I think that got announced. It was the first thing we did on that day, and that was announced the night before.
Yeah.
So, but we knew the next event after that anyway. It depends. Yeah, like I said, the person who's running the show, it depends on what they want to do, how they want to run their comp.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll announce workouts like week prior, or sometimes they'll announce a workout like a couple of hours before. But,
Interesting, man. That'd keep you
yeah,
on your toes. It's so interesting because it's not like say a powerlifting competition or something where I'm going to rock up in 12 weeks and I'm going to do a squat, bench, and a deadlift, so I
yeah,
can
yeah,
specifically train to get as strong as possible in those three movements.
yeah,
Versus something like that is in 12 weeks you could be, I don't know, climbing up a rope, or you could be
yeah.
snatching, or you could be running 10K, or man, that's so cool. When it came to maybe pulling it back a little bit to more when you first started, what were some of the most difficult things you had to overcome, or even some of the most difficult exercises or movements to learn? What were some of those challenges that you had to overcome when you first started?
Um, I can tell everyone. I can tell you one movement I struggled with, and then I went into that first competition and it popped up.
Oh no.
Was double unders.
Oh yeah, skipping.
So I couldn't get them going. I was getting so frustrated with them, like all the whip marks and stuff when I was practicing like a couple of days before the comp because
Yeah.
they said that's gonna pop up. Um, but now I'm kind of like it's just a lot of practice. You just need to practice
Mm,
them. But
mm.
that kind of like made me want to practice more after how when you feel like you're doing shit, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah,
And you're
yeah.
like, oh, I want to practice that movement more to be better next time.
Yeah, it's really cool to see your mindset. You're very clearly motivated by things that you can't do.
Yeah,
So often I think people, oh, I'm really good at the gymnastic stuff. So, I'm just going to double down on this gymnastic stuff. I don't want to do the running or the double unders because, I'm shit at those. It's
yeah,
so obvious that even the whole idea of that coach saying, oh, I'm not sure if he'll be any good at it. I'm not sure if it's for him. You're like,
yeah,
nah, I'm going to show you that, that I can
yeah,
do it.
yeah.
Is that something that's been quite evident throughout your sporting sort of journey? You're motivated by the challenge or the things that you need to improve at?
I'm not sure. I think it's just me. I guess that's just
Yeah.
the way it goes. Guess it's maybe just brought up like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's so ingrained, you're not even really
Yeah.
like that kind of aware of it. In terms of other movements, what things that come to my mind that would be very difficult to learn, and it's probably because I haven't learnt them and they look kind of scary, is things like snatching and the Olympic style lifts. What was it like for you learning those kind of movements?
Um. Really. Oh, so like when you first start, you obviously go. Actually, I went up to Auckland once to go to a weightlifting workshop,
Oh
and it
yeah.
was with Richie Patterson. Richie Patterson, he's like Olympic Games, Commonwealth champ. That
Oh
guy,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
He had a workshop on, and my mum was like, "Oh, my mum again, yeah." It's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, should we take you up to there just to see how you do?" And then just going up there and watching him to start off with was kind of like, "Wow, this guy knows his stuff."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, just the cues of everything, listening to him, to other coaches, just repetitive, just practice, just helps you like get better.
Mm.
Um, and then yeah, another coach that I had here in the Mount, he would always put weightlifting almost not wouldn't say every day, but it would be like at least 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Just practicing that movement, and the more you do it, the more you get better, right?
Yeah,
Better
yeah,
and stronger.
yeah. Simple.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because one thing that it kind of makes me think about, and one of my only qualms with CrossFit, and it's probably more zooming into a beginner, is that there's obviously a heavy focus on getting things done in a certain amount of time, getting a certain amount of reps done as quickly as you can, and it makes me think about that equation of speed versus accuracy. The faster you go, the less accurate you're going to be, and
Yeah.
how does that kind of factor in terms of injury mitigation? Like, what's your perspective on that from a beginner's perspective? Do you think there's a focus on beginners getting it right first, or do you think there's a risk that they are doing movements too quickly, so potentially going to get injured?
Yeah, you kind of you can point those people out, when they turn
Yeah.
up. So like most CrossFit gyms, they would have what you call an on ramp,
Right.
and it's like for beginners when they first start, maybe for like a week or a couple of weeks. They just do an on ramp, just practicing like movements. Like it could be lifting, like snatching with a just using a stick,
Yeah.
like for the whole session, like just practicing that. And then it's just it's better to get it sorted, like the movement good before you pick up a bar.
Mm.
Um, yeah, you see those beginners come in sometimes, and there's those like not only mean, but
Yeah. Yeah.
there's some arrogant people that come in. It's like I can do this, and then they just do something wrong, and then they're like never come back. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
bad.
I could imagine that might be the case if they've, been already going to the gym for a while or something. So they're like, "Oh, this CrossFit stuff's easy as. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can,
yeah,
I can snatch this 60 kg barbell easy."
yeah, yeah. You see them coming, like walk around like they've been to a gym before. It's like, but you need to learn the base first.
Yeah. So would you say most gyms that are, good gyms have a reasonable kind of onboarding kind of process where
Yeah,
it's more
yeah,
just about learning it? You're not actually
yeah,
trying to go all out in the first sessions.
yeah. The three CrossFit gyms that I've been a part of, all three of them had like a learners class, and I was in all three of them. Even
Right.
though I've been to like I did two in Whakatane and then came over here. Even
Mm.
though I've already done it before, I still jumped in the one here. And
Oh
then
yeah.
because some coaches tell things a bit differently, so it's kind of good to get their perspective of it as well.
Yeah.
'Cause,
And do they ask you to do it or did you opt to do it?
they do put it up there, and then I opt to do it. Yeah,
Interesting.
just
Yeah,
do
my
it, and then because like I said, some coaches they explain things differently, and you could pick up something else that the other coaches didn't get or didn't
yeah.
let you know.
Yeah, my niece, she's 15 and she's been doing CrossFit already for a couple of years. And it's been so good for her, man. Especially
Yeah,
like you would know, like starting it at such a young age as well. She's like deadlifting over 100 kgs now, squatting like crazy weight. And
yeah,
it's just been so cool to see. And I think there's probably that community aspect to it as well. That's probably a big difference between just going to the gym and hitting a weight session by yourself
yeah,
versus going in and you're seeing the same people often. And I think it's been so beneficial for her. Did you find it sort of the same starting at such a young age and being a part of a community
yeah.
like that?
It was like community. Like I've got some of my closest friends. They all go to the same gym as me. I
Yeah.
like spend pretty much every day with them. It's just brings a whole good vibe to your
Mm,
training. It's like you don't want to just be in the corner doing your own thing. You want to be lifting or having a competition with your mates
yeah.
or racing them or whatever.
And you can clearly bond over like a mutual interest too. Like there's
Yeah,
already
yeah,
one big part of your life that you mutually enjoy. And yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just making me reflect on my training that it's such an isolated kind of thing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I suppose you like maybe train with friends every now and then, especially at high school. You get
yeah,
so many of the different boys like wanting to start at the gym and then they go again and another one
yeah,
comes up and then they go again. But
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
the same as turning up to a CrossFit gym, like you say, seeing the same people every
Yeah.
time. That must be, I don't know, quite an important part of your life. Like it almost extends beyond just
Yeah,
the fitness element,
definitely.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Even like you have your own community at your gym, and then you go to competitions, and you kind of it expands to other gyms. You know, you
Yeah.
have more friends from other like around the country that will meet you at the comp. And be like just throw down
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Maybe just pulling it back to the challenges you've had to overcome, I just thought there's the physical stuff or maybe the practical stuff like the double unders and all that. But what about the psychological element? And maybe I'm thinking things of like injury we kind of spoke about at the beginning, but then also things like maybe not performing so well at a competition or not having a good session. What have those sort of psychological challenges look like for you throughout your journey so far?
Um, like mentally, it sucks. Like you think about it, you're like, man, I just want it to go. Like you want to start, but it's kind of like it's probably like I said, it's a blessing for me to be injured right now because if I carried on, something wrong was going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a blessing that I get to go and jump in the New Zealand team for Whakatane.
Hmm.
Um, mentally, like I said, it sucks, but I just kind of like just keep moving forward.
Mm. Have there
Keep,
been
keep
examples
going.
of competitions where you haven't performed as well as you thought you had or were going to?
Um, yeah, hmm, New Zealand Nationals. The injury actually popped up before then, but I didn't
Ah,
really take much notice of it. And it was like maybe 2 weeks out, and then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna have to keep going, and then we'll see what happens after the comp. But it didn't really stop me from competing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Did it
Just really,
affect your performance at all?
yeah, probably there was certain movements that I couldn't really perform properly. Like I said, running wasn't really great. I was
Yeah,
running a lot before then too, and that's probably what injured me.
yeah,
But then you kind of just look forward to the next one, which was my strength.
yeah. So that was the 10K event when you had stress fractures in your shin and you
Yeah,
had to run 10K.
yeah.
Damn, bro. And what kind of shoes are you running in for that 10K? Do you still run in like CrossFit style shoes or do you have proper running shoes or something like that?
No, I have proper running shoes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was
Some
gonna
people,
say,
some people are like hardcore and would run in like CrossFit shoes, but I
yeah.
wouldn't recommend
No,
it.
I was gonna say the stress fracture, like that would give you a stress fracture, like running in
Yeah,
Metcons or something
yeah. I
for
would not
10K.
recommend running in those. Like
Nah, man.
if it was like a running workout mixed with something, like probably like a 200 to 400 meter run, and then with
Yeah.
some like lifting or something, then yeah, that would be okay, but not for 10K.
Nah, no way. It's like almost like, I don't know, running in dress shoes or something. You know, there's
Yeah,
not exactly much cushion in them.
yeah.
Another element to the CrossFit style of training that I'd be interested to learn more about is the idea of an interference effect. You know, if you do maybe the most classic weight training split, like a bro split, your leg days are separated, you know, from your other leg day. Your other leg day is a week away, so you don't have to worry about the interference effect or being recovered in time. Whereas something like CrossFit, I don't know, you could probably squat 2 days back to back, or you could be squatting one day super heavy and then running the next day. So how does it kind of factor into the interference effect and the recovery time in terms of how your training load is split up?
So when really, I have no clue. I just let the programming make me do
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
But we don't have specific body, I guess, specific like times to do a certain body part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, we do like it feels like a normal week. It will be like Monday, Friday will be squatting,
Mhm.
Wednesday will be deadlifting. I think Tuesday and Saturday will be pressing. So they're definitely separated.
Yeah.
But then you have your workouts, which would just have anything and everything really, or
Yeah.
just one movement. It just depends on who's programming it for us that
Yeah.
day. Um, Not really. I just think, like I said, I think everything works.
Mm.
Doesn't I don't really matter. Or I don't really care about having like two movements in this like 2 days in a row. I would still just go do it. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Do you find that you still get sore from your
Yeah,
sessions, or is your yeah,
definitely.
you
Yeah,
do?
yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
'Cause maybe
Still,
that's what I
yeah.
was thinking. Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
sore, and then a couple of like if you just keep going, but like not hard out, but not to the point where you kind of make yourself injured, but you kind of just keep going a little bit, and it
Mhm.
eventually goes away. You
Yeah.
just have to keep moving, and then the soreness goes away, and then you kind of like are used to it for a bit.
Because I was thinking that you, because of the um, how many different movements you would do, that maybe you don't get as sore, so there's not big of an interference effect. But it's interesting to hear that you actually still get sore, and then the next day you're still out training or
Yeah,
not
yeah,
doing the same thing again, but still having to go through movements that would still be using the same muscle groups.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You just have to be careful when you are sore. It's like if you are really sore, you kind of like, oh, well, I'll just change the movement. Maybe
Mm,
just change it to something else. But most of the time, it's okay to just carry on.
yeah. You've mentioned it a few times, and before the podcast, I didn't really forget about this element of you, but when I thought about you, I just thought of CrossFit. And then I realized that you're actually super high up in the world of Wakarama as well. So maybe it would be a good opportunity for us to speak to that a little bit. And what it made me think of was that interference effect, because obviously um, if you're training CrossFit, let's say you're doing heaps of pull ups, maybe some ring muscle ups and all that, which is really arm and bicep heavy. And then you're also doing Walker Armor as well. It's kind of got me thinking. But in terms of your Walker Armor journey, what has that looked like? It sounds like you've been doing that for even longer than obviously you've been doing your CrossFit.
Yeah, so probably been doing Whakatane since I was 5.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
my family, it's like a family sport. So
yeah.
you just grow up doing it, turn up to events. Yeah, my parents race and I'll just be there. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's a family sport. And then there's been a few times I've been to a world champs for it. I think I've
Mhm.
been my first year might have been 2012.
Oh, damn. So while you're
2012.
still at school, you're going to the Worlds.
Yeah, 2012 with Josh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it was 2012 with Josh. We went to Canada for
Damn,
um
bro.
for the world sprints. Yeah, and I've been a few times since then.
Ah, what was it like, just zooming on that first comp? What was it like going all the way to Canada when what year? That would have been year 11 at school, right?
Yeah, I
What
think
was it
so.
like going to a world comp on the other side of the world when you're like still that young?
Um, I don't know. It's kind of I've been. We went to many races already, so it's kind of like you're just going to another race.
Yeah.
It's like quite normal, but
Hmm.
it's just like traveling the world, but like to that side of the world was. I reckon it was quite chaotic with like a bunch of like yeah young boys.
What, 15-year-olds or something?
Yeah,
That would be hectic, man.
yeah. I think we had a maybe like 12 in our squad, so 12 of us. Yeah,
Damn, bro.
imagine the parents like
Yeah,
dealing with
like I
that.
was thinking going on like a school bus is hard enough, let
Yeah,
alone like catching long haul flights to the other side of the world.
yeah. But then like we knew we were racing in the world champs, so it's kind of like oh, yeah, we're good to go.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was cool.
And how has it been managing the two different sports, like something like CrossFit and something like Waka Armor? How do you prioritize your time and maybe even more on a macro level, like a higher level? How do you manage the time between the Waka Armor and the CrossFit? Is it based around maybe competition time or how does it work?
So, well, a few years ago, I used to work on the port, and I would just do both. Like, I would have my paddling program, and then I also have my CrossFit program. And it's just like you go to the gym, you tick things off, and then you go, okay, I've got to go paddle as well. So you tick that off. So that was just doing both. But then I got to the point where I was like, man, I really want to do better at CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of pushed paddling to the side for a bit, and then did better at CrossFit. Then got to the point where I was like, I came third in the New Zealand Nationals
Oh,
and
wow.
was qualifying for comps overseas and stuff.
Yeah.
For over in Aussie and stuff like. And then now I've kind of just revisited because of injury and because
Mm-hmm.
I started going through the process of doing the trials as well.
Yeah. When did you last compete in a Whakatane comp? Was that 22, you're saying?
um, that one, oh, the world champs was 22. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like, see, yeah, it's if you like, if I was like to qualify for something or was going to trial for something, then
Mm-hmm.
I'll start training for that
Yeah.
while like jump in the boat and stuff. But if there's
Yeah.
nothing coming up, then I'll just stick to CrossFit for a bit.
Yeah. Do you think there's much of a crossover between your CrossFit training to your Whakatane strength and fitness, or do you have to do more specific Whakatane stuff?
Um, Definitely they cross over both of them.
Yeah.
Like when I first started CrossFit, I don't want to sound like cocky or anything, but I was already good at some of the movements just because paddling helped my shoulders develop,
Yeah.
and I could already do most of the shoulder stuff like handstand walking and handstand push-ups, the rig stuff like pull-ups. Everything was already okay. Um,
And that would normally take people so long to be able
yeah,
to something like the handstand work. Even
yeah,
just holding a handstand for 10 seconds is hard.
yeah. Like there's a lot of people at a gym that say they're like, man, my shoulders are so sore, but because of my years of pedaling, my shoulders are kind of used to it.
Yeah.
Like if my shoulders get sore, it's just normal.
Yeah. So now in terms of your training load at the moment, you say it's heavily towards the Whakatane. So how much would you be doing in terms of your training for Whakatane at the moment?
Um, Probably 8 to 9 hours on the water a week.
Yeah. And
Um,
that's like open water stuff, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, 8 to 9 hours a week, and then also just going into the gym for an hour. That's it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's probably from maybe 5 or 6 days a week just in the gym
Mm.
for an
And,
hour, just in the
in terms
class.
of
Yeah.
the open water paddling, where do you draw the line in terms of the conditions are too rough to go out? Because
Yeah,
like
so
that must get hectic, man. You're not just paddling on a lake. Like a lake can get choppy, but it's not going to have huge swells. Like what is it like on that open water stuff?
yeah, I just had that problem the other day actually.
Oh yeah.
I had to do a I had to do a 2 hour paddle session just at a zone two pace. It's like a low, easy pace. But it was windy as, and I finished
Yeah.
work late, and I was like, oh man, I gotta go out. I gotta go out. So I went out, and it got dark really fast. Still windy as, and I was like, oh, I've got to pull the pin. I think it was like an hour in, and I just packed up and went home and jumped in the shower. It
Yeah.
was freezing.
Yeah, man. I feel like it could get quite sketchy too, even in terms of like the boating traffic and stuff like that too. Is there anything that worries you in terms of those safety aspects, like not being seen by a boat or anything when it's like,
Oh yeah, you kind of have it in the back of your mind if you're like paddling like really close to dark time.
yeah,
Um, but I think everyone has a light on their boat anyway, so you kind of can see who's coming around, or you can hear the boat engine. So,
yeah,
but yes, I wouldn't go out like I just paddle in the harbour if it's windy
yeah,
or anything. Yeah, I wouldn't go right
yeah.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something I've never even considered. Like I'd see photos and videos of you and Josh, like out and like going out from Whakatane paddling, and the idea of being in a small boat by yourself in the ocean, I don't know, man. It seems almost a little bit scary to me. I suppose if it was like real glassy and sunny, it'd be nice.
Yeah,
But
that's nice.
it could get sketchy though.
Yeah. Sometimes we look forward to the windy conditions, like just for the fun of
Yeah.
it. Obviously in daytime, not nighttime.
Yeah.
But sometimes, yeah, it's just the fun of coming downwind with the surf and stuff. That's what we always look for. It's
Yeah, I
quite
was going
fun.
to say pedaling into a headwind probably isn't much fun.
No, no.
No.
But you have to earn it though, so you have to pedal in the headwind to come back.
Yeah. From somewhere like Whakatane, just because I obviously know some more landmarks, what would be the furthest that you would paddle? Like, would you paddle out, I don't know, as far as like Whale Island or something like that? Is that, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. I've pedaled
Damn, bro.
from the heads all the way out to Whale Island. I think that's 9 kilometers just to there, and then
Yeah,
obviously 18 back. But I think it's 20, 25 if you go around and back.
yeah,
Yeah, that one there. I've paddled from Thornton back to Whakatane. I think that's only like 12. Me and Hayden actually did it once. He paddled
really?
the sea next to me, and we just did like a cruise back. Yeah, and
From
then
what, Thornton to the heads?
yeah, yeah,
Damn, bro.
and then we've done all the way up the river to, I want to say, like, was it the power station? What was the power station all the way up the river? It's like
Where would that be?
it's like on your way out to like Taniatu or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, like where the dam is.
yeah, I think so.
Oh,
Somewhere
is
around
that
there. Yeah,
out like out the way to Galatea? Is it out that way? Or like Murupara? Like if you're going that way, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like a dam crossing the. It's just like a power station. I can't remember
Oh,
what it's called.
okay. Oh,
Yeah, I've done also like what is it? There's like a adventure race or like a something challenge where you do bike, run, pedal.
oh yeah. Oh, bike run paddle. So instead of a swim, you do a paddle.
Yeah. Um, what is it? Not toys challenge. I think it's the Motu challenge or
Oh, yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I've done that, and that's somewhere from way up the river all the way back down to like the yacht club or something by the warehouse.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
bro. Is something like that? Is it a team event, or did you
Me
just do the
and
paddle?
me and Josh did it. We did a team event down the river, but he ran and I did the bike, and then we both
Yeah,
pedaled. Yeah.
man. I can't even fathom even what it's like. I've only paddled a kayak a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
I can't even fathom what it's like to paddle 20 k's.
Yeah.
I don't know, just
Definitely
using your
done.
upper body.
Definitely done longer in
Yeah,
team boats. Oh, like even here, we paddle from Makitu back to the
yeah.
mount. It's like a race. That's
Oh,
32K.
man. And it's not like it's like I said about the lake, it's not like it's just like a big swimming pool,
No,
paddling 32. You could be dealing with the currents, like a crosswind, the waves pushing you back in. Like there's so many different elements to it. It's
yeah,
not just
yeah.
a 32K straight line
Straight
paddle
line.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What do you think, kind of, in terms of your mentality in those endurance events? Where does your mind go when you know you've got this long, hard journey ahead of you? Like, what are you thinking and what are you telling yourself?
I always just say pace it,
Yeah.
stick to your own race. Don't try and race anyone because you're just gonna burn out. Or especially when
Yeah.
you try and choose someone that's faster than you. You're like, I'm gonna try and keep up with them. It's always a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just always tell myself to pace it and then just pick your moments of where to push and where to relax a bit.
Mm.
Yeah,
And making those decisions, would you say it just comes from the experience that you've
yeah,
gained over time?
yeah. Just
Yeah.
time on the
Yeah.
water to be able to handle that distance as well. Just need the time,
How
like
does that
anything really.
Yeah, exactly, man. And how does that distance stuff compare to the more sprint style stuff in terms of physically, but also mentally as well? Because they're obviously both very different.
Yeah, I think our sprints is probably long, or maybe too long to even be called a sprint.
Yeah.
Like our shortest race is 250, which is a
Yeah.
new distance in our list now.
Mhm.
But mostly it's always 500 meters, and 500 meters is what, 2 minutes, which is ends up in that next zone.
Yeah.
You can't really sprint for 2 minutes
No.
unless you're crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you kind of have to pace that too, which kind of ends up being what you do in a long distance race, really. So long distance kind of always helps for your sprinting. Obviously,
Mhm.
you would have a little bit of sprinting element in your training, but I reckon long distance is always going to be the base for sprints.
Yeah. It sounds so similar to something like running, like long distance running. Even you saying a zone 2 pedal, you would go for a zone 2 run. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
obviously a completely different modality, but it's interesting to hear that the similarity in terms of you need to build that base level of fitness to also be able to help with that high speed stuff as well.
yeah, yeah.
Mm. Now, another element, we've been talking training heavy, and we've obviously discussed a bit of recovery. But I'd be keen to understand a bit about your nutrition and your supplementation and what that looks like. So, what does your nutrition look like? Do you follow a specific plan? Do you just eat whatever? Do you have macro goals? What does it look like? How do you manage your nutrition? You
My
don't.
nutrition sucks, eh? It's so bad. I need to
Is
work
it?
on it way better,
I feel like with that
eh?
with the output as high as yours, like obviously you wouldn't gain weight because your output's so high. But do you think if you focus on your nutrition, you could maximize your recovery more, or like
Yeah,
what do you
it
think you need
is
to improve?
definitely need to fix that. Everyone at the gym, they always tell me because they know how I eat. Like I don't eat bad,
Yeah.
but I don't eat enough, And
Hmm.
everyone's always telling me you need to eat more. You need to fuel yourself before training. You need to fuel yourself after training. But
Yeah.
I don't feel hungry. Like
Mm.
and then everyone's like, oh, and then maybe some stuff I don't really eat well on as well. So it's kind of, I do definitely need to work on it.
Yeah.
That's probably just a weakness like running.
Yeah. And even though you need to work on it, do you eat consistently? Do you just eat whatever? Like, do you roughly eat the same thing each day, or?
um, I do try and eat the same thing. But it's like, dinners are always different. Dinners,
Yeah.
you always want to have a different dinner because you can't just eat the same stuff all the time.
Nah.
Breakfast, it just depends on, for breakfast, it depends on if I'm going to train in the morning or if I don't have the time to between training and work,
Yep. Yep.
to eat something. So I'll usually just have like overnight oats or something already made. That's just like a standard, really. If I
Yep.
have time in the morning, like on a weekend or something, I'll just have like bacon and eggs or something,
Mhm.
something simple.
Yeah. I reckon if you were to pick one thing in nutrition to work on, I would say it would be like the protein target, 100% for you. I think if you could hit 1 gram per pound of body weight or 1.8 per kg of body weight, that could help you so much with your
Yeah, yeah,
recovery. And that's,
I've heard something like that. I don't actually know anything about it, but
yeah,
someone's mentioned something like that. 1 gram, yeah, per pound
yeah,
of your body weight.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I do supplements. I have protein powder, creatine,
Mhm.
electrolytes more than
Yeah,
just pre-workout. I don't really
yeah.
take pre-workout unless it's like a Musashi energy drink, really.
Yeah. Yeah, feeling peckish for one or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I feel like it sounds like you probably eat better than maybe what you think you do. But with
yeah,
your output, man, you could eat so much and still not be like really gaining any body fat or anything,
yeah,
because your
yeah.
output would be
Yeah, a
so
lot of
high.
people tell me that, they're like, you just need to eat more. I'm like, I know, but I just don't get hungry, Like, Like, who
Yeah.
cares? You just shove it in your mouth and you finish.
Force yourself to eat
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I guess that's where things like liquid calories, like making a smoothie that has
Yeah,
oats and
yeah.
peanut butter and that kind of stuff, so it's easier to get down, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have smoothies and stuff sometimes as well. It just
Mhm.
depends on the day, really, what you're feeling like, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, just from like the even bodybuilding coaches to more holistic nutritionists and stuff that I've spoken to on the podcast, that's just a common formula that comes up, is that 1 gram per pound or 1.8 per kg. And obviously, for someone like you with such a high output, you could almost probably bump it up more than that too,
Yeah, yeah.
because your output's so
Well,
high.
I'm
And
gonna do that now that you said.
yeah, give it a go, man. Because
Yeah,
the thing about protein, I saw this. Who was it? I can't remember. This athlete that I follow anyway. They were like, you don't accidentally hit protein goals. It's so true because when you look at it, I don't know what's your body weight, maybe like 70, 80 kgs or something like that.
I think 83 the last time I weighed myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
83.
And what would that be in pounds? I don't know, like
I think it's like
170, 180.
185.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah,
185 grams of protein a day. I feel like there's almost no way that you could accidentally hit that. That's
yeah,
like
yeah,
decent amount of eggs in the morning, your protein or your overnight oats with protein, decent amount of protein at lunch, and then a decent amount at dinner time.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
if it was sort of planned out, it's pretty easy to get in. But like you say, if you're not hungry and you skip one of those meals, all of a sudden that's 30, 40 grams of
yeah.
protein that
You
you
need to
don't
make
get
up
in.
at
Eh?
the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, man. Yeah. I also in terms of carbohydrates, I had a running nutritionist on. And off the top of my head, I can't quite remember the formula, but it's like 4 grams. No, that's probably too much. 2 grams per pound of body weight or something. I can't remember. I'd have to go back in terms of the amount of carbohydrates that you need. But it worked out something like a 60 kg female runner needed to have like 300 grams of carbohydrates a day on their
Yeah,
long run days,
yeah.
which
Wow.
is wild, man. So that even the carbohydrate piece to adequately fuel for
Yeah,
those kind of things, man, it's just wild how much you technically need to be consuming, to,
yeah,
I guess, optimize your training and recovery.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, I'm bad at that. I need to.
Yeah.
That's something I need to work on.
Yeah. It's just crazy to see how well you've done without necessarily following a super rigid training plan. It shows
Yeah,
you that it can be done. But imagine now that at the level you're at, if you increase it by a few percent, like it might not, it obviously won't be a 200% increase or something, but even a few percent,
yeah,
for someone like you, how close you are to your ceiling and how well you're performing.
yeah, yeah. Sure.
Mm. In terms of your upcoming goals, before we wrap up, what have you got on the cards? It sounds like Whakatane is clearly the focus at the moment, but what
Yeah.
does maybe the rest of the year look like for you in terms of your plans and upcoming goals?
So yeah, we've got Wakama Worlds in August.
Mm.
I've made the New Zealand team for that, and also qualified for one of the individual spots as well.
Oh, nice, bro.
So I'm putting a lot of work into that at the moment.
Yeah,
And then for CrossFit, we've got team nationals in October. Um, team nationals in October in Hamilton, and then individual nationals in like November, December, which is
yeah,
they've changed their location and they're bringing it here to the Mount to Tauranga.
that's handy.
So yeah, I definitely
Yeah,
get to sleep in my own bed.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm not too sure about those just yet because of my injury. So we'll just, I think, our next couple of months I'll see what the physio or the doctor says.
yeah.
To get more scans on my leg to see if it's healing or not. So
Mm.
yeah,
Oh man, fingers crossed. It sounds like something like that shouldn't take too long, especially like you're doing all the right things, You're
yeah,
not
yeah,
overloading it. You're not still trying to run anyway or still
yeah.
train legs anyway. You're giving it the opportunity to
Yeah,
rest.
it's just funny. We were just talking about this the other day. It's just funny how the one thing you want to work on, but you injure it and then you can't work on it. It's
Yes, man. Yeah.
just
Uh,
it makes you feel like shit, but it's like
yeah.
it happens.
Yeah. But it sounds like you've got such a strong mindset and you're just adapting. You're like,
Yeah,
okay, well, we got to pivot. We got to do this. There's no point
good to do. Yeah,
sitting and dwelling on the stuff that you can't do. It's
yeah,
like, what can you do?
yeah. Work on something else. Try and figure
Mm,
it out. Do
mm,
something else. Yeah.
exactly. And if people want to find you and follow your Wakarama or your CrossFit journey, where is the best place for people to find you?
Probably just on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really post much, but I need to
I
work
feel
on
like
that as well.
the stuff that you do post, I reckon, sick though. Like you've got
Yeah.
some high quality content on there. Like I said, I
Yeah.
was scrolling it before this, and like you got some sick photos and reels on there, man.
Yeah. We've got a guy from our gym, Bronson. He's the man on behind the camera. He's
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
cool. Yeah. He always flicks
exactly.
over some content for me to post up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it looks so sick. All right, thanks heaps, bro. I enjoyed
No
that,
problem.
and we spoke more about Wakayama than I thought we were going to
Yeah.
as well. And
We
that was
did.
just
Yeah.
before the pod that I was like, oh shit, we should probably talk about that too. So that was
Yeah.
cool, man. Thanks heaps. It was really interesting getting more of an insight into your world. Obviously, like I said, I've been following it through your Instagram photos, but
Yeah.
it was nice getting more of an insight into it, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Nah, sweet as. Thank you.
No worries, bro.